Let me introduce you to Glacier, a new shawl pattern from Whooley Designs. Originally inspired by the colors of Lake McDonald in Glacier National Park, Montana, Glacier is a fast and fun shawlette to crochet. Work the main field in an easy to memorize 4-row repeat from end to end. Then you'll add a simple yet complex looking edge in a coordinating color. The bandit style allows for an easy to wear piece such as a cowl, tight scarf, or simple shawlette. The colors and options are endless. Let's get started. Okay, now, if for the purposes of this video, I am doing a fewer rows than the pattern calls for. However, I did finish on the repeat that row 59 would finish on. And before we go on to the decreasing section, I just wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, when you finish row 59, you should have one last eyelet row and then just 2 solid double crochet rows. So 59, that's where it should be ending off. Now also, before you start row 60, I want to show right here, there's one other thing that you need to know about row 59, and it says, place a marker around the post of the first stitch you made in row 59. So remember that the turning chain counts as a double crochet, so that's your first stitch. So what I do is I take a stitch marker, which I've got right here and it's already open for me. I put the stitch marker around that stitch. So I'm going to do that right here. And the reason we're doing that is because when we get to the edging, we need to know where the point of our shawl is. And this stitch right here is going to show us the point of our shawl. So we're going to start with row 60 now to do the decreasing row. Now the pattern is the same. We're still going to do 3 solid rows of double crochet and then an eyelet row, and then 3 solid rows and then an eyelet row. So this next row, row 60, is going to be a solid row. So we're going to just chain 3 and turn. And then we're going to double crochet across, skipping the first one and double crocheting across till you get to the last 2 double crochets before the chain 1 space. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, go all the way across here. And this will just take me a minute, but I should mention here while I'm crocheting, the colorway I'm using is the original Lake McDonald colorway that I used in the original shawl. So you're kind of getting to see how it works up close. So it's a gray background with a lot of speckles in it. So I really recommend this shawl with something that has speckles because it really makes different stitches pop, and I like that look. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so these are the last 2 doubles right here. So I've got one more. And then it says to double crochet 2 together. So we're going to go into that first stitch, yarn over, go into that stitch. There's 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, leaving 2 loops on the hook. Then we're going to yarn over again, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now there's 4 loops on the hook. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, which leaves 3 loops on the hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's a double crochet decrease, or a double crochet 2 together, however you want to call it. Now because we're decreasing, we don't want to work in that chain 1 space. So at this moment, we're going to just chain 1, we're going to skip the chain 1 space and the next double crochet and do our 2 double crochets in that turning chain. So that's something to remember when you're decreasing, is that you're not going to work in that chain 1 space going forward. So we finished the 2 at the end, so we're going to chain 2 and turn, or chain 3 and turn, excuse me. And we're going to go on to row 61. Now row 61 is an eyelet row. So we're going to do our double crochet here in the first stitch to make the 2 on the end, chain 1, and then we're going to skip this chain 1 space, and then we're going to double crochet 2 together the next stitch and the next stitch. So we're going to do our double crochet 2 together. So we're decreasing by 1 more stitch, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to skip 1, double crochet in the next one. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one, and one more time for me, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. So that's row 61. So 61 is your eyelet row, okay, and you are double crocheting 2 together at the very beginning of the eyelets that start. Okay, so row 62, chain 3 and turn. Now, because we've got eyelets, we've got to remember that we are still going to be decreasing down here at the end, so it's a little bit different than what we did on the first row of solid double crochets. So we're going to double crochet in the first chain 1 space, and then we are going to double crochet in the next double, and we're going to do that across, so the next space and then the next double, and then we're going to do that across until we get to the last chain 1 space before the double crochet 2 together that we did on the previous row. So we're just going to keep double crocheting it down this row. And we got a couple more to go here. Okay, this is our last regular double crochet. Now we need to double crochet 2 together, and we're going to do it this time. We're going to go by yarning over, going into the chain 1 space, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through the first 2 to leave those last 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, go into the top of the double crochet 2 together, and we are going to have 4 loops on our hook. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and if you look here, we finished the solid part of the row with a decrease. So we've decreased the number of stitches, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space and the next double crochet, and do our last 2 in the top of the turning chain, and I just missed that there we go. So we're going to do 2 in there. I'm going to show you one more row. 63, so you're going to chain 3 and turn. You're going to yarn over, pull and do a double crochet into that first stitch. So we've got the 2 that together there. Chain 1, skip this chain 1 space, and then we're going to double crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. So there's our double crochet 2 together, and then we're going to double crochet all the way across. Do that again. So a few more. Okay, last double crochet. Give me a sec here. There we go. Okay, so now that was row 43, or 63, excuse me. So you'll notice that row 63 ended in the same spot that we started row 60 at. So row 59 is right here, and we had one more row of solids there. So from this point forward, you're going to repeat rows 60 to 63 13 times, and when you get to the end of row 115. There's 2 more rows we need to show you before we can do the edging. So go ahead and finish rows 64 to 115, and I will show you the last 2 rows as soon as I'm at that point. See you in a couple. Okay, we have finished row 115, and at the end of row 115 you should have 4 double crochets. So here's the first 2, the turning chain 1, 2. We're going to skip over that double crochet 2 together, so there's 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 1 double crochet 2 together and 1 chain 1 space. So that's the end of row 115. We're going to do 116 now. We're going to chain 3 and turn. There's our chain 3. We're going to turn, and then it says to double crochet 2 together. So we're going to skip that first stitch, then we're going to double crochet 2 together, the last 2 before the chain 1 space. So we do that. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 double crochets in the turning chain. So we skip the chain 1 space and the next double and go into the top of that turning chain and do 2 double crochets. So now that's the end of row 116. For row 117, we're going to chain 3 and turn. So there's our 3, turn, double crochet in the first double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip this next double crochet and the chain 1 space, and we're going to do a double crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches of the row. So there's that one, first leg. Here's the second leg. Made that tight again. There we go. And then we're going to finish that double crochet, or that double crochet 2 together. That's the end of the row. So then now all we're going to do is cut, and we are going to finish off with that first color. And that's the end of our main field. Now remember, I did mine smaller than the actual pattern for the purposes of this video. Yours is obviously going to be a lot longer than this. But what I wanted to recommend before we start the edging, and the edging will be in the next video, but I would recommend before we do the edging to block this to the schematic in the pattern. Once you have blocked it, the edging is going to be a lot easier to put on, and you won't lose any of the stretch in the main body of the yarn when you block it after you put the edging on it. Sometimes if you don't block it right away and then put the edging on and then block it, the bottom edge where you put the edging may not stretch as much as you need it to. So go ahead and block your finished project, and I will see you in the next video to put on the edging.